Hi, this is Curtis Everett with St. Studios Films. To pay the bills, I'm a professional driver, and so I'm actually on my way home from doing Uber tonight, and I'm on the interstate. It's a very straight and uneventful drive, so that's why I'm comfortable enough driving to talk about some screenwriting stuff while we're on the way home. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about today is one strategy that I use for screenwriting that is extremely different from the norm when it comes to screenwriting. So a lot of people think, okay, I'm going to write this script, and then after I write this script, I'm going to cast performers in the roles that I've written. Well, in a perfect world, I mean, that's how it's supposed to go, and you have people audition, and then you pick the best part. Pick the best performer based upon their audition. You know, that's technically how it's supposed to go. What I do differently, instead of trying to find the right actor for the part, I try to find the right part for the actor. And so what that means is I cast my films before I write them. So after I've come up with a title, and I have that title for the project, and I know what the project is, I kind of have some characters in mind, like, you know, what kind of characters I'm going to need for the basic storyline, and I kind of think out the basic storyline in my mind, but I don't really flesh out the dialogue until I have cast the movie. And the reason being is because two different people are going to bring you two totally different performances in a role. So you want to make sure that whenever you're writing the dialogue, you're writing the dialogue that is best suited for the person in the role. So that's why it helps to wait until you have cast the movie to write the dialogue. Just is very helpful part of the process. So for example, right now I am working on Romeo and Juliet update called Rome and Julie. And so the script I am working on, I have already cast many of the roles in the script. And what's great about it is the dialogue basically writes itself, because I can hear the actors that I've cast in these roles saying these lines. And basically when you're writing, you just want to get the actors talking to each other. And Quentin Tarantino is a great screenwriter. He uses dialogue to drive his stories, and that's something I have tried to emulate over the years. And so a lot of times the dialogue is how I move my movies forward. And so in one of my future videos, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn on the camera and I'll dictate what I'm doing, but I'm going to write a scene of a movie on camera. And so hopefully that'll be informative on, you know, how to take a scene from beginning to finish. But it's just very convenient if you go ahead and you put your feel. So what I do for a movie is if I have a certain someone in mind, I'll just ask them. I'll say, hey, do you want to be in a movie? You know, because after you network for years and years, you'll just have a bank of actors that you can work with. But if I'm unsure about who I'm going to put in the roles, I'll do the title card and put that on Facebook or something and say, hey, why don't, I need people to be in this movie. Who's interested in being in this movie? And if you're networked in a group like Filming in Mississippi, which is one of the greatest networking tools I've ever used, but anytime I put a post in there saying, hey, I'm making a movie, I have tons of people who respond to that, and they want to get involved in some way or another. And you just want to find the right people. You want to work with people who want to work with you. You want to work with people who are not driven by money, not at this level at least. Obviously there's some people who do this for a living who I respect, but I always try to offer disclaimers. Hey, we're a hobbyist film company. We do this for fun. We're, just trying to get better at this. We offer IMDb credit and real footage upon film completion. and meals during production. And that's what I offer my performers and cast and crew. And so the good news is, when you are writing scripts that give people who are used to playing background parts a more substantial role, where they get dialogue and stuff rather than just, sitting in a scene or walking through the background, they're more interested in wanting to engage with you. And as long as you are cordial with your performers and you let them know, hey, I appreciate you, I appreciate what you're doing, they'll want to come back and work with you again. You always want to say thank you. You always want to just make sure that you are appreciating what everybody is doing for you and the time that they're giving up to be in your productions. And I have several actors, nowadays I'm just writing roles specifically for them because I love working with them. They're great fun to be around, and I hope that they enjoy being in my movies too. But see, that writes itself. You already have some of the cast in place, when you have a dedicated group of actors that you work with time and again from project to project. You don't have to start from base one, from square one whenever you're, doing these movies. You don't always have to hit the reset button and, I'm never going to work with the same people more than once. I'm going to be, very particular about who I work with. But you'll notice over time, there's even famous people, they work with the same directors over and over and over again. So, Mel Gibson and Richard Donner, they did the Lethal Weapon movies, Maverick, Conspiracy Theory. And then you have Denzel Washington and Antoine Fuqua. Great combination. Training Day, the Magnificent Seven remake, the Equalizer films. And, the people love to work with the same director more than once because you get a shorthand. And that's another benefit of having worked with somebody before. You know what they're like. And that also factors into, when you're writing a movie and you're thinking, what would this character do? And the preferences of that person sometimes become the character. And it's just good to, know who you're working with and socialize with them outside of, sets, take them out to dinner and, just spend time with them and learn how they talk, learn how they walk, and learn what their ambitions are. One thing I like to do for my performers is I always try to ask people, if you could play any part in any movie, what would it be? And that is a huge indicator of what somebody wants to do with their acting career. And so I try my best, every time I ask that question, to keep that in mind. So when I'm writing, I can craft a role specifically for that person who wants to be in a film doing a certain thing. And I try to make it happen because, for me, I'm living the dream. I'm enjoying making films, and I'm so glad that I have people that want to work with me and want to work with me more than once. And, I've just really been enjoying the filmmaking process and camaraderie and the collaboration. I love working with people, all sorts, and I try my best to work everybody in that I can and help everybody out in every which way that I can. So, anyway, it's always good to cast a movie before you write it, and just develop those characters, and then either ask friends or just get that cast together before you write, because then you're just writing the dialogue that those people in real life would say to one another, and that just makes it a much more simpler process. So anyway, so like I said, I promised I'm going to write a scene at some point. I tried to do an editing video, but then the scene that I was editing ended up being way more complicated than I thought it was going to be, and so the video was just extremely long. And so what I'm going to do is I have some reshoots coming up, and when I do those reshoots, I'm going to edit those, and I think those will be a little bit simpler to convey some of the editing strategies, and so it won't be as all over the place. Anyway, y'all have a great night, and hope you are enjoying these videos. I've been enjoying making them. Thank you.